Eric. Sorry, Larry, you got us still on there. Ben Hain is playing Eric. And Alex Nicosia, once again, returning as the stage director. He's got an itch. The play is from Jeremy Laroche.
The Catastrophic Consequences of Time Travel and Why I Personally Never Chose to Use It. A 10-minute play by Jeremy Laroche. Characters: Eric, a 22-year-old college dropout, curious and easily distracted. Amelia, a high school friend of Eric's, intelligent and career-driven. William Shakespeare, the famous Elizabethan playwright. Time-torn Eric, Eric's older self, created from excessive time travel. Scene: revealing the time machine. At rise, lights turn on. A time machine is in plain sight. The appearance of the machine is entirely flexible, but it should be large enough or carefully positioned so that actors can stand behind it without being seen by the audience. Eric leads Amelia into the room.
Okay, are you ready to have your mind blown, disintegrated, imploded?
Sure, Eric.
Well, here it is.
It's an old computer. Yeah, I guess it's weird that there's an old computer in an abandoned candy store, but is this really the big surprise? I was hoping you got a good job finally.
Oh, Amelia, you don't even know what you're looking at right now. I don't know how it got here, but this is a time machine. I know it's a lot to take in, but so far, how intense is your mind explosion?
Yeah, instead of answering that, may I ask you something?
Sure, what do you want to ask?
Have you actually used this time machine, or do you just want it to be real to impress me, your parents, and society, I guess?
Well, I haven't used it yet, but I know it's a real time machine.
How? How do you know?
What else would it be? Come, look at this.
He brings Amelia closer to the machine.
It's got controls and settings for month, year, day, and even hour. And there's this crazy 3D globe thing to choose a location. I've never seen technology quite like this, and I was a computer science major before I dropped out.
A VHS tape fall out of the machine.
And how do you explain the sealed VHS copy of Space Jam that just materialized out of the machine?
I guess that's solid evidence. I'll admit it's cool, at least. But why did you wait until I was here to use it?
You have so many questions. I guess I was just scared to try it alone.
So you want me to use it with you?
Oh, no. It would be dangerous if we both went. I need you to stay on the outside in case something bad happens.
So I don't even get to use it?
You will, don't worry. But for our own safety, I'm going to test the waters first. The waters of time. That sounded even cooler out loud than I thought it would.
Turn it on, then.
Eric starts the experiment with the controls.
First, where do I want to go? Ancient Rome seems like a good time, and place as any. There we go. Now to turn it on. This looks like a toggle switch. Okay, it's not a toggle switch. I have to hold it. Wait, no, I have to press it repeatedly.
Eric suddenly disappears behind the machine in a successful time travel. Amelia screams.
Oh my God! He was dead serious! He might not be able to pass his classes, but if this doesn't make Eric the smartest person I've ever met, I don't know what.
What was that you were just saying?
Eric, just wow! How? Wow, that just rhymed just now. Where did you go?
I was in ancient Rome, like I told you.
Can I try now?
So you are interested. I definitely want you to see it, but I should pick out a safe place and time for you to start with. I wasn't even in Rome very long because I landed right in the middle of the gladiator match, and there was a lion there that didn't look too friendly.
All right, but be quick, because I'm excited now.
It's a time machine. Of course I can be quick.
Eric uses the time controls to travel again.
Wow, I don't even know where I want to go. My whole world, no, the whole world is beginning to change as I speak. The very existence of this machine is both a mystery and a miracle.
Eric returns, possibly covered in blood and holding a top hat.
I just assassinated the president.
You did what?
Assassinated the president.
Oh no, why?
I wanted to test how the repercussions would play out, and I figured since this is a time machine, I could go back and, not assassinate him.
I'm not even going to try to follow your logic. Which president?
Does it really matter? I'm mentally scarred right now. I didn't know I was capable of murder. I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to delay your turn again. It was a stupid thing I did, and I need to fix this.
Eric time travels.
This is not good. Not good at all. I should have known this whole situation was too good to be true. I don't understand how Eric could just...
Eric returns.
All set.
You saved him?
Yeah, it's pretty weird coming in contact with myself, but I'm pretty sure well, I won't kill any more presidents for some time.
Good. I was legitimately scared. I won't do anything as stupid.
Before you go in, there's one thing I want to do as an apology.
Fine.
Thank you. Sorry.
Eric uses the controls and time travels again.
What else could he possibly need to do? And what does he mean by as an apology? I don't want an apology. I want a time travel.
Eric returns with William Shakespeare.
I'm back, and I brought a friend.
Are you sure it's safe to do that? Who is it?
Thy name by which I am referred to doth be William Shakespeare.
He shakes Amelia's hand.
Is this really happening?
Of course it is.
This is incredible. Why did you pick him?
Well, you're always saying you want a boyfriend who knows how to be romantic. And who's more romantic than Shakespeare?
Eric, I am in awe, but I need to tell you something.
What?
I am not dating Shakespeare.
Alas, mine soul beeth content with remaining as cater cousins.
What?
I think it means friends. Intro to Shakespeare was one of the few classes I was decent in. I'm going to leave you two alone. You might find you like each other more than you think.
Eric time travels once more.
Eric!
Happily we should break with conversation pertaining to matters of the heart.
Mr. Shakespeare, I'm sure you're a great guy, and I know your plays are legendary, but there's a pretty massive generation gap between us.
'Tis a sorrowful truth.
The lights suddenly turn off except for a small amount of illumination from a window. Amelia releases a small scream.
Eric! What did you do? Why did the lights go out?
Whence hath that illumination disappear into the abyss?
Eric, where are you? Normally you'd be back by now.
Amelia paces around and finds a note.
A note? I don't remember this being here.
What doth thine parchment speaketh?
I can barely read it, but I think it says this. Dear Amelia, you're probably wondering why this note appeared instead of me.
Actually, you're probably first wondering why the lights went out. I'm getting to that. I won't be coming back this time. I made a huge mistake and Benjamin Franklin is dead. I distracted him while he was doing his lightning experiment thing with the kite and the key. While he wasn't paying attention, he got electrocuted and died. I don't know if someone else has discovered electricity by the time you're reading this, but I highly doubt technology has gotten to the point where time travel is possible. Even if the machine is still there, it won't work. I brought this note to the location that I believe will become the abandoned candy store you're standing in. I hope you found it, because the only thing I have left to say is, well, I'm sorry. You would have been much more responsible than I was with the time machine, and you should have been the one to use it.
Amelia begins to cry.
Moisture runneth from thine optics. What be of concern?
Oh, never mind. Just never mind. Let's go, Will.
Amelia and William Shakespeare exit. After they are gone, time-torn Eric enters. He appears to be old and in poor health.
After tumbling through the time stream for 60 years, here I return. This is the place where I set my invention, which would be my only masterpiece and my final downfall. I'm the one who killed Abraham Lincoln and saved him from myself, only for the poor honest man to be assassinated again a week later. I'm the one who killed Benjamin Franklin and delayed the entire modern era. I'm just a stupid kid. Even now, I still am in my old age. My one positive accomplishment in life was building and placing a time machine as a gift for my past self, hoping he would redeem our life and create a good one. But he didn't. I didn't. Oh, God, we created the dreadful state of humanity instead, and we turned this body into a misplaced monster in human skin. The only greatness we achieved was creating this great tragedy. and the time machine will never be turned on again.
Time-torn Eric drops dead. End of play.
Jeremy, it's a run! Jeremy, any questions you'd like him to talk about while you're here?
Do you think like the pacing was good and the transition into the ending?
Pacing and transitions. We were talking about plays that stay the same all the way through. This one changed. So what about the transition? Effective? Your observations. Don't tell them how to fix it. Just your observations. What direction? By the way, you're texting to VYP.
VYP 3, and then this is play number 8.
VYP 3, play number 8. So I'll turn these on so we can take a look at them. But think about the transition. You can either put something in a text or raise your hand. I've got too many buttons to push. I will never turn the time machine on again. Here it comes. Transition. Yep, here's a comment here.
Kind of a jolt, and in a good way. And further, it was also what I think was a well-placed monologue. Monologuing is a little dangerous because it can start to drag. But I think in this case, it was a great way to wrap it up.
Thank you.
So the room got very quiet during that transition. That means one of two things. It means WTF, or it means wow, interesting. What do you think? Yes, here's a comment here.
I thought it was very interesting because the way that you ended it was sort of like an epilogue in a Shakespeare play, or a monologue that someone was saying in a Shakespeare play before they died. And so I thought that was very interesting. So I was sort of looking at it like through a Shakespearean lens.
That's a cool association.
I liked the placement of the monologue. I think it was a good place to leave the play. And I just want to commend you because monologue writing, speech writing of any kind is pretty difficult, especially for a character like that.
Thank you.
So, really good job. Because there were a lot of higher ideas in there, I think. But
That was something I was worried about with the ending because I wanted it to end on something like shocking, but not so much so that you kind of forget about what happened before. Like it took me a while to figure out. Like I wanted something with the time travel thing to be so like extreme. Like so it'll be his older self, and then it kind of went from there as to what it means in the end. Yeah.
Yeah, so, one of the classic frames of science fiction is that it kind of works like that. It's telling a story about robots and creatures and people, but there's kind of something else going on while they're telling the story. Did you feel that in this? And was that comfortable, or did you think it's just a fun farce? Something else going on, or just a fun farce? Yep, up here it comes.
Well, I thought it was interesting that the time-torn Eric character, he kind of paradox, and I'm not even going to attempt to wrap my head around that, but that he put made the time machine available to younger Eric in hopes that he would redeem himself for the stuff that he already did, and he ended up doing essentially exactly the same stuff, and that was really interesting to me, is that he's just going to continue, like, this loop of time is just going to, Eric's going to continue to be the exact same person for all eternity, and it's never going to change anything unless something different happens. And that something different is never going to happen because he's never going to meet, and it's just, But I just thought that sort of lack of character development is really interesting.
Here's a comment, yeah?
So I just really love the ending. I want to commend you on that paradox because that's so complicated. Like she said, I'm not going to try to understand it, but it's really good. But I love that it wasn't that happy ending where everything was resolved. He just would keep doing the same thing, and he ruined the modern era. And there's always that temptation to wrap it up nicely, and you left it kind of like this time-traveling mess, and I really liked it. So my silence was a wow silence. Good job.
Good. Other reactions? Yes.
I felt like there was something going on underneath the farce, and I think that could have been strengthened by the Eric's matching a little bit more, because the Eric we saw at the end was so different that I wanted to see the looping happening in the play a little bit more.
You want to see more echoes of the one and the other in the dialogue. So one presumes that on stage, we were staging this, we might put some visual cues about that, costuming or hairstyle or that sort of thing. But at the level of dialogue, we could have used a little more. Yep, back here. First here.
I really liked the relationship between Amelia and Eric. Like, she was doubtful at first, then he sort of into the time traveling, but yet she was kind of like left behind by it. I just think it was very funny dialogue, and they were both humorous characters, but it was also like it was an interesting friendship.
Yeah, that's what I was going. Thank you.
Yeah, here's a comment.
I thought that the difference of time-worn Eric was good because it reflected 60 years of knowledge and wisdom. I thought it was good that he was a totally different person. It seemed to be different.
We do change as we grow. Sometimes, huh? Andy was a little too serious for me, despite the good writing in the monologue, so that reaction that caught you by surprise. Yes, here's comments.
I've been talking a lot. The top comment was something I cut. Well, it just changed. I felt like the monologue would have been more effective if he had been talking to Amelia. I think my biggest issue, and one of my only issues with the play, was that Amelia walks off with Shakespeare basically into the sunset. And I love the idea that he basically destroyed the modern era and messed a lot of things up. And so it's okay that Shakespeare's here, but it feels kind of like a skit because Amelia and Shakespeare are able to just walk away from that, and Amelia doesn't feel a sense of loss or anything for Eric.
What I was trying for that was that she was crying the first time, but then when she leaves Shakespeare, she like wipes her tears. She's not like happy, but she just so overwhelmed she just like gives up. So, but yeah, I understand what you're saying though.
Yeah. Let me throw this one out at you. Would you like to see a longer version of this?
Yes.
Whoa, that was big. So my next question was going to be, you think there's enough going on in this that more material was in it and you would have been happy to sit through it? Is that what you asked, Matt?
More.
That's important information because it's possible to be really boring in 7 minutes and you don't want to see it anymore. So this is kind of a good achievement. Yeah.
I felt like the one thing I would have wanted to see more of was the rules of the time travel device that you developed. Just like, I was confused, like, how does he get back?
Yeah, like the science behind.
Not even just that,
Yeah.
but just like, is there a set time that it'll bring you back after a little while? Or like, does she have to press a button to bring him back? Or like.
Or did he fall out of the time stream?
Yeah, just a little bit more of the
Okay.
world building of the time
So
travel.
this is a black hole. So I totally break my head on time travel movies. I'm not the guy. I have to sit there and go, wait, he went and he did that, so now that means that now that's not that way anymore. And I'm lost. Like there's a romance going on, I'm past. I'm like, how did that happen in Mexico? So the trick of time travel stories, it seems to me, is to totally distract you from worrying about that and just make you pay attention to the dynamics. So if you got hooked a little bit, that's a very interesting piece that you made a break in your head too. Yep.
I was just going to say, my favorite part was the dialogue from Shakespeare. I thought that, it was excellent. Great character, and I thought if you were to expand the play, one possible direction you could go is not just expanding dialogue, but also the kind of situational comedy of having somebody from, Shakespeare's time in the kind of modern era, I think that there's a lot of situational comedy there that could be exploited and grown.
So more to go. Excellent. Means you got some fertile ground here to keep exploring and build it out. Yeah.
Especially noted, there's so much potential in having the guy, especially a guy who claims to be the bard himself, talking in that, by the way, very authentic Elizabethan English.
Years of training.
Any other comments we have for Jeremy?
Back here in the back.
I'm sorry, where are you?
Way back.
Way back, yes.
So you have that secondary tension of Shakespeare wanting to get back.
Ah.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that.
Oh, interesting. We got to get him back. Yeah, we're not going to have King Lear someday. Yes, one more.
I think that would be a really interesting thing to kind of both to add to the tension, the thing about Shakespeare wanting to get back to his own time, also the thing up there that says if Amelia gets more frantic every time that Eric returns, because I feel like if I were Amelia, I'd be really freaked out that every time he leaves again, he's not going to come back.
Yeah.
And I feel like that, where Amelia's freaking out because Eric's like, keeps going, and she's like, tell me what's going on, and Shakespeare freaking out because he's like, how do I get back? This is so weird. Like, electricity, what? And like, I feel like both of these people who are completely freaking out in completely different ways and are completely unhelpful to each other would make a really interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
And with Eric just completely oblivious and just like popping in and out. I think that would build the tension to a really like abrupt climax that you have with him, just the power going out and him not coming back.
A boatload of ideas to build on. I'll say this, a lot of great comedy you got out of just of different dialogue rhythms. So you think about these characters, they all had a different speech style, length of sentence, interrupted versus discoursive, Shakespeare's own plan. Part of the comedy is the collision of rhythms, and to master that in a short piece, it's really nice work.
Thank you.
Jeremy Laroche, Bellows High School.